This is a map of the B&M Railroad operating divisions. Here we see the Independent Order of Oddfellows Hall and some of the Main Street stores. In 1974, Mabel Kendall Fellow donated this picture of the New Raymond House, one of Main Street's finest structures. It was destroyed by a fire in 1925. The pilot in this picture is Andrew Pergington from West Epping. In 1938, he passed his pilot's test and got his license. Here we have the old W.S. Nelson store situated across street from the depot around 1920. This picture, donated by Mary Littlefield, shows a very popular Reverend Thompson meeting with the ladies of the Congregational Church in 1910. After the second church was demolished by a fire in 1892, his efforts resulted in the new church being completed in less than 15 months, debt-free. This is a colorized tintype photo of Mr. and Mrs. Joel Whiting. Mr. Whiting was a town druggist in the turn of the century on Main Street Pharmacy. Lieutenant Benjamin Bean House was built in 1750. It's located on Old Fremont Road, and it's the town's oldest building, still standing today. Town meetings were held here for 23 years until 1788, when the meeting was called at the new meeting house near Cider Ferry Road. On January 18th of 1790, town officials tried for a second time to have a town meeting at the new meeting house, but it seems that the citizens in 1788 just couldn't get the hang of voting there, and they opted to adjourn to the 25th of the month at Lieutenant Bean's because it provided warmth in the cold weather and because the tavern was a more attractive place to hold town meetings. This is Camp C. Samaka on Onway Lake around 1940. Mary Sargent, a phys ed teacher from Wellesley, Massachusetts, bought 700 acres on Onway Lake in the 30s and established a summer camp for girls who came from all over the world year after year. They rode on horseback to the local ice cream shop known as Candyland every afternoon. They named a Sunday in her honor, and you can still get one here at the Historical Society during open houses and other events. Over the years, those who attended held special affection for Raymond and returned often. This picture of Lakeview Inn on Onway Lake was taken about 1940 and donated by Mrs. William Hingston in 1976. Raymond's summer population grew as the local train brought many summer boarders to various locations around Lake Onway. The Lakeview Inn specialized in baked bean suppers on Saturday nights and full-course chicken dinners on Sundays. The barn hosted many a Saturday night dances with patrons coming from miles around. Here we have friends at the summer home of Gilman Tucker on Long Hill Road around August 29. Those in attendance were familiar names in Raymond society at the time, names like Fox, Fulconer, Cram, Armstrong, and McDonald. The house was a summer residence of descendants of the Tucker family until it was sold in the 1970s. Soon thereafter, the beautiful home called the Brownsing was a victim of a tragic fire and a loss to the entire neighborhood and community. This poster was donated by Russ Edge and is an original broadside print of 1864, the 150th anniversary celebration during the Civil War. Prior to his service as fire chief, Burgess A. Chase was a builder of many fine homes in town and also added the two-wing addition to the firehouse in 1956 and built the four-room addition to the Consolidated School in 1947. Deputy Chief and Forest Fire Warden Raymond H. Smith was a member of the department for 33 years and served many years as Forest Fire Warden. A flagpole at the station was erected in his memory. This picture of World War I and World War II veterans was taken on the steps of Town Hall in 1946. They are chapter members of the Maple Wheaton Post number 4479. The post home was named in honor of the first men of both wars to have been killed in action, Emerson P. Maple of Chester in World War I and Elmer D. Wheaton of Raymond in World War II. This picture of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was donated to the Society by one of Raymond's early schools, along with a picture of George Washington, our first president. Andrew Burke donated this picture of J.M. Dearborn home destroyed by the fire in September 23, 1908. Local artist Thelma Holt crafted this painting of the Congregational Church. Thelma owned and operated Holt's department store from the late 1940s until her passing in the late 70s. The front window was a gift of Benjamin Poor to the church in memory of his wife Alice. Poor was a prominent citizen and farmer by trade in the late 1800s. His property is today owned by the Walnut Hill Conference Center. This is an early photo of the Congregational Church, dedicated in November 12, 1934, the church vestry, and the shepherd home. The church vestry and church were destroyed by the 1892 fire. L.W. Holmes was the third Raymond Fire Department chief. He is seen here with a copy of the Torrent Hall bylaws of 1931 and a picture of the first firehouse built in Raymond in 1894. This is the Raymond Historical Society as it stands today. It's replaced by the former B&M depot built in 1893 following the December 1892 fire. The National Grocery on Main Street is shown here in 1914 as it was decorated for the 150th celebration. Ralph Sanborn was station master in Raymond for 53 years. This photo is part of the celebration of the installation of the first dialing telephone in Raymond. Behind him is a telephone company representative. This is Burgess A. Chase as a child. He was one of the Raymond Fire Department chiefs, and this picture was taken a few years before he became chief. This picture of Whispering Pines, donated by Virginia Dustin, was taken around 1930 on Route 101, which is now Route 27. It's the second house beyond Long Hill Road heading west, and it was owned by the Troll family. There's another broadside original of the 1914 150th celebration. It was donated by Mr. and Mrs. Carl Orfeld. Here we have a Sanborn map of Raymond as it was in 1908. This photo of the National Grocery Company and the Whiting Drug Store was taken on Main Street during the 1914 celebration. The Raymond Electric Company, property of Charles Fox, was located off of Main Street in sight of the depot. Here we have the Pecker Bridge on Main Street during the 1936 flood. Old Raymond House is visible beyond the bridge, and the bridge sign is housed in the Tool Museum. This is an aerial view of downtown Raymond taken in 2003. This is a picture of the depot and Main Street looking northwest after the December 1892 fire. All that remains of the station were the brick walls and the chimney. The Sailors and Soldiers Monument, the centerpiece of the town commons, is shown here at its dedication in 1921. This is a photo of the Women's Civic Club and Pilgrim Tea Room taken around 1920. It hosted many home-cooked meals and was a site of many important events, including visits of United States presidents. It was also the site of Raymond High School's first Alumni Association meeting in the early 1930s. This is the Torrent Hose Company and Town Hall around 1910. Town Hall housed the high school students and was destroyed in a fire in March of 1917 following a town meeting. This building on Main Street was destroyed by a fire in 1892. This is popular teacher Miss Burnham. It shows her with the class of 1903. This photo, taken around 1900, shows some of the older residents posing in front of school number 8, also known as the Pecker School. George Guptill wrote this article in the Union Leader titled "Ready Kilowatt Comes to Raymond," and it's shown here with some pictures of the electric company. Long before television, Raymond High School students presented plays. Long before television, Raymond High School students presented plays. This poster of Hoodoo advertises its debut at the Oddfellows Hall on March 1st, 1924. Biplane Crashes to Earth tells the story of aviator H. Roy Waite and an event that never quite happened during the 150th celebration. Raymond High School graduates killed in action during World War II were donated by Sally Guptill Parody. Elmer D. Wheaton was the first World War II casualty, and the VFW Post 4479 carries his name. Here's an early photo of the Congregational Church. Dubbed the Old Camp, this 1920s picture was of the firemen's picnic at Pawtuckaway Lake. We have uniformed men marching in the 150th celebration parade in 1914. This is a Civil War monument, Congregational Church, and other buildings around town. This photo of the Little Horribles was taken during the 150th celebration. Some of the children pictured included Dorothy Blake, Ibra Holmes Grove, George Guptill, and Clifton Baker. Here we have a series of photos of the 150th celebration. The parade Grand Marshal was George H. Guptill. Popular entertainers, Maggie Dodge and David Fellows, are shown in the carriage at the Dudley Tucker Library. Mildred and George Guptill donated this 1887 Norris print of the town of Raymond. The Bork Shoe Company was one of the Raymond's largest employers, and here we see the first annual outing on August 22, 1931, at Maple Park in Methuen, Massachusetts. Here's another Raymond Shoe Company outing on July 16, 1938, at Angel Pond. Here we have the Bork Shoe Company outing at Pine Island on July 28 in 1934.